It's that special time of the year. It's here. We've all been waiting for it. We're prepared. We've been anxious. There's a high level of anxiety from Casey you should have seen. It was very entertaining as we sat there and talked to him, and he was just really getting ready for that draft. And Tyler also was kind of thinking, oh, this is stressful. Which means we've hit the appropriate point in this league to say we know what's important and what isn't. Here we are, playing fantasy football. Week 1, sponsored by the Roadhouse. Not really, but let's be honest, it's the only game of the year that actually has a name besides the championship game. Therefore, week 1 is always Roadhouse week. Now, not a lot to talk about that has already been covered, so we're going to get into the predictions really quickly. Yes, I'm aware it's Saturday. Yes, I'm aware that Thursday night games happen, etc., etc. Yes, I'm sure that I'll miss a couple of times throughout the year doing the previews or the recaps or whatever. Yada, yada, yada. I'm sure you'll make some comments. But you know what? It's still week 1. You still deserve a prediction. You still deserve some guesses. Well, deserves an interesting word. You people really don't deserve anything. None of you. Go out there, pick your things, you're welcome. I'm gracing you with this beacon of knowledge that is mine and this wonderfully entertaining cast that I do, or whatever it's called. What is this called? I don't know. It's pointless. Most of you aren't going to listen to it. I'm mostly just talking to myself. It's kind of sad, really. But hey, what else am I going to do? I'm waiting for the Holy War to start later today. And after Utah wins, then starts the fun. Fantasy football. Sunday. I've already got a couple of scores underway. We'll get into those a little bit more, but that first Sunday, I don't think there's anything better. You're going to wake up, 11 o'clock kickoff, I guess 9 o'clock, oh no, yeah, 9 o'clock for Jeffrey, 1 o'clock for Jeffrey. Ooh, that was bad. Can't even do math right now. 1 o'clock for you East Coast people, that's one of you. The rest of us, we get to start at 11. We have our 11 till 2:30, 2:30 to 5:30 or 6, and then that night game. This week, we, of course, have the 2 Monday Nighters, but for those that play other fantasy sports, fantasy baseball, fantasy soccer, fantasy basketball, you're just wrong. We get one day to focus on our teams winning, one day to talk, and one day to hope. And that's our one day this week. Let's see what it looks like here. A couple of things I want to make a comment on. First of all, Casey coming out with the one true king. All right. Yeti Killing Squad, Wild Bunch, I'm Thinking RBs, Where's My Switch, Mr. Eagles, Titletown Cheeseheads, Can't Touch This, and Great Balls of Fire. I mean, how many seasons in a row can you have the same team name? Let's try and add something to it. Dax What Zeke Said, the one true king, and let's see, Breeze Nuts. Now, JJ Swat over here, we're not sure whether or not he has a clever name yet or not because, well, this is his first year. Maybe he'll stick to the same thing all the time. I don't know, but we, of course, have another pretty strong homer in our group with all of the Houston players. So, let's get to this. Here we are. Quick box score preview. Who cares, right? All right, that's what Zeke said versus the one true king. Casey versus Pookie. Going to pull up the bench here. We'll go position by position real quick and see who's going to win. Jameis Winston. At Atlanta versus Matt Stafford at Indiana. I think that Indiana's not going to be very good this year, so Stafford's going to have a good game, but the rushing touchdown from Jameis Winston is going to be the difference. Therefore, Jameis Winston takes the points over Matt Stafford. DeMarco Murray versus Christine Michael. So, yeah, Christine Michael starting. He's going to get some stuff. He's probably going to get a lot of run against Miami, but maybe they want to get Rawls some of the preseason practice he didn't get. DeMarco Murray versus Minnesota, I think that he's going to end up pushing. That's going to be right about the same. They both get a touchdown and about 80 yards of offense total. So right around 13, 14 points, so we're giving it a push. Zeke versus David Johnson. Let's not even really get too in-depth on how much I'm in love with Zeke at this point. But I do believe he's going to get between 2 and 3 touchdowns and well over 100 yards of total offense versus David Johnson's maybe 110, 120 yards of total offense and a touchdown. So let's give those points to Zeke. Allen Robinson versus Rashad Jennings. Now, this is the opposite of my Zeke thing, right? Because it's the team that's going against my Cowboys in the Giants, which I hate, but I'm excited for. So Rashad Jennings probably going to run a little bit against us. If they give him the ball a lot, he could get there. He's probably going to get about 60 to 70 yards of offense and then a touchdown, so another 13, 14 points. If I'm both lucky and unlucky, he'll have 2 touchdowns to give me 20. Allen Robinson against Green Bay at home. I think this is the year that we're going to see a lot of stuff out of Jacksonville. So Allen Robinson's going to have another good one. Let's give that slight edge to Allen Robinson there. Dez Bryant versus Keenan Allen. I believe in Kansas City's defense, and I believe that Dez Bryant's going to be targeted a ton by my boy Dak because, hey, they're going to have to start trying to figure out Zeke. So we got another 80 yards and a touchdown from Dez. We'll probably go 110 yards, but no touchdowns for Keenan Allen. That's going to give points to Dez. Julian Edelman versus Doug Baldwin. Doug Baldwin's probably going to have a big game. Julian Edelman doesn't have Tom Brady yet, so he's not going to have a big one. We'll give that to Doug. Delaney Walker versus Martellus Bennett. I hate to say that I like Bennett early in the season, but I do until Garoppolo's gone. So probably going to give that to Bennett. Chiefs versus Panthers. 11 points, not bad, but I think the Chiefs are going to do more than 11. And, of course, Dan Bailey over Dan Carpenter. ESPN's got him winning by about 3.5 points here. I'm going to go opposite. As you can see on the right side here on the screen, I'm going to pick Pookie over Casey in the Roadhouse for back-to-back seasons. And he's going to have to take me there twice. What's the final score? I think this is actually going to be up there a little bit. I think both teams are going to break 100 points, but I think Casey's right about 100, but I'm going to get a few more points, get around 108, and have a relatively comfortable win. Let's see, do we either of us have any Monday Nighters? Nope, so it'll be decided tomorrow, which means Pookie will be happy tomorrow. All right, next, whoops, I don't want that. I want that. This, what is this? Oh, this is Malco versus Clinton. All right. Blake Bortles versus Derek Carr. This will be interesting because I believe in Blake Bortles, but Derek Carr versus a crappy New Orleans defense. I'm going to go with Derek Carr here. Probably coming out the gate, really getting that Oakland hype train going early on, and they get the win. Therefore, Derek Carr is probably going to get 3 to 4 passing touchdowns and over 300 yards to Blake Bortles, 270 yards and 2 to 3 passing touchdowns. TJ Yeldon versus D'Angelo Williams. So I think that TJ Yeldon's going to have a good year. I really do. Either him or Chris Ivory, but I believe a little bit stronger than TJ Yeldon myself, which is why I really wanted him in the draft. And he's going to outscore D'Angelo Williams, who's not going to have quite the same start to the season that he had last year. Sorry, Clinton. Danny Woodhead versus Latavius Murray. Yeah, I'm going to go with Latavius Murray there. That crappy New Orleans offense. Probably, again, well over 100 yards in total offense, probably 80, 90 yards at least rushing, and then 30 to 40 yards receiving and a touchdown for Murray. So 20 points right there versus Danny Woodhead. Nope. ODB versus Langford. Is this, do we really have to think about what this is or what it isn't? That ODB is going to win. Antonio Brown versus Jordy Nelson. Again, Antonio Brown's going to win. Mike Evans versus Deshaun Jackson. Again, Mike Evans. So here's one of the things about Malco's team, right? He has no running backs. TJ Yeldon's his only hope. Everything else is crap. He already traded for Danny Woodhead. That was a crappy trade, Malco. I'm sorry. You've drafted him to get the value, and you got rid of him way before you ever had any value. That's the bad trade. It was way too short-sighted. It was trying to get some help this week. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But those 3 wide receivers are going to be strong for you all year, so whenever they're not on buys, you'll have a decent chance. Jared Cook versus Eric Ebron. Neither of those tight ends is doing much for me at this point. Rams versus Seahawks. I think San Francisco is going to be bad, but I think that Miami going to Seattle is going to be worse, so Seahawks are going to get it there. Prater, Gostkowski. I don't know. I think Prater's probably going to outscore that there. So you got Bortles. You got Yeldon, you got ODB, Antonio, Mike, and you got Prater versus whatever Malco's got. So our defending champion, and I did that with air quotes even though you couldn't see, is going to start off the season with a loss to Malco, who doesn't have any running backs. Nice job, Clinton. Oh, man, I don't know what to do here. These are just 2 not very good teams. I like Kelvin Benjamin and what he did, but that's probably what, you're going to get out of averaging him on a weekly basis, which isn't bad. But Marcus Mariota, not going to do great against Minnesota. Ben's going to have to throw a lot because D'Angelo Williams not going to do much, so Ben gets it there. Adrian Peterson versus Carlos Hyde. Pretty sure Adrian Peterson is going to win that one, but Doug Martin's going to beat Amir Abdullah. So you're going to kind of get a push at the running back situation. Therefore, Ben's still getting Jeffrey the lead right here. Although once we get down to this, Thomas Rawls versus Spencer Ware. So Spencer Ware will be okay. Not great. He's probably going to split it with Sharknado and whatever random other things that they do down there. And Thomas Rawls is going to split with Christine Michaels. So it's going to be a push, but Ware gets the edge with a goal line touchdown. Amari Cooper is going to outscore 15 points, so he's going to get the checkbox there. Eric Decker's definitely going to outscore Kelly Coleman. Jordan Reed probably going to outscore Dwayne Allen. Steelers and Vikings. Vikings probably going to do a little better. That's kind of brutal, isn't it, Lucas? I guess he probably isn't aware that his quarterback is going against his defense at this point, so negatives all the way around. And Justin Tucker, Blair Walsh. Hey, sure, Blair Walsh, the official kicker of the 06010 versus some guy in Baltimore. I'll give Blair Walsh the edge, but it doesn't mean much because at the end of the day, Jeffrey's probably going to murder Lucas. And that's what ESPN says. I'm going to have to agree with them, unfortunately, although I hate when I have to do that. But yeah, this is going to be an easy win for Jeffrey, even though I picked his team to be crappy. But you know what? Lucas's team is worse right now without Le'Veon. Oh, let's see. Godwin versus Burton. Huh. Let's take a look here. This is the first time we've looked at Dwayne's team without Andrew Luck on it. I mean, not Andrew, without Aaron Rodgers. And with Andrew Luck at quarterback. This ought to be an interesting experience for him. Drew Brees, Andrew Luck. Drew Brees going to have to throw a lot. Andrew Luck not going to. I just don't think Indianapolis is going to be all that great. I could be wrong, but I'm going to give Drew Brees the checkbox here. Devontae Freeman versus Mark Ingram. Oy. So both players that had good years last year, but I'm not sure what's going to happen. Devontae Freeman was a little more up and down. Mark Ingram was a little bit more inconsistent before he got injured. So I'm going to give Mark Ingram the checkbox. Ryan Matthews versus Matt Forte. Old versus chronically injured. Cleveland versus Cincinnati. Ugh, I hate to do it, but I actually think Ryan Matthews is going to outscore Matt Forte here, even though I don't really believe in Philadelphia much. Frank Gore versus Golden Tate. Frank Gore is solid, but again, we covered the Indianapolis stuff, so Golden Tate's probably going to get the checkbox here. T.Y. Hilton versus Julio Jones. This isn't a question. Julio Jones is probably going to win every matchup he's in, except for when he's up against possibly Antonio Brown or like an ODB on a week where he has a better matchup. But Julio Jones is probably going to be the number one wide receiver in fantasy this year. Larry Fitz versus Brandon Cooks. Hey, the Drew Brees Brandon Cooks combo is probably going to work out for Aaron in this case. Travis Kelce versus Greg Olsen. I would have picked Greg Olsen probably to do a little bit better than 7.3 points, but Travis Kelce is, that underneath target guy for Alex Smith, so he's going to have a good year. He's going to get more than 7.3 points as well. Broncos versus Jets. Is probably a push right around there. You probably get 9-10 points maybe for the Jets, so it's not going to be a big swing even if they get it. So we'll give the Jets a checkbox, but by the skin of their, not by much. And then kickers are kickers. But at the end of the day, this very close game. It's also projected right around what Casey and I projected, only 0.2 points more for old Dwayne's going to be close, and I'm going to agree with ESPN, and Dwayne's going to get it because of the Mark Ingram over Freeman. Andrew Luck doing okay, but at the end of the day, Julio Jones is going to carry this team to victory. Julio! Oh, yes. The game that's already been decided. Oh, that was fun. It was fun because we had Tyler sitting here at the house just trying to figure out exactly what he was going to do. Who should I play? Who should I not play? Should I put in, Landry, or should I put in Stewart? Stewart's going against Denver. Should I put in Landry? Should I put in Stewart? He probably went back and forth at least 73 times. And at the end of the day, well, it was Stewart. And what a wonderful choice it was at 6.4 points. And then he was sitting there watching just C.J. Anderson go berserk. We were all sad Devontae Freeman fumbled the ball, but hey, you know what? C.J. Anderson's actually going to turn around and have a great year. And the irony there was that all the hatred and all of the, disappointment that was C.J. Anderson for Tyler last year came back, bit him in the butt the first start of this week. So C.J. Anderson giving him a big lead early on. I believe in Carson Palmer. Why not? Eli Manning's probably going to have a decent game. It's going to be pretty close, but Eli Manning is going to win that matchup. LaShawn McCoy versus Eddie Lacy. Oh, goodness. I'm going to give you another checkbox here, Tyler, because I think LaShawn McCoy is going to be a lot in that offense, and Eddie Lacy's going to be okay, better than last year, but Jeremy Hill not going to do as much against the Jets this week as you want him to, but he's still going to have a decent year. John Brown's going to win that matchup. AJ Green versus Brandon Marshall, just in talent and opportunities, I think AJ Green's going to outscore Brandon Marshall here. It's just the way it's go, but hey, that'll be fun. You can watch that game because they're both playing in the exact same game. Against each other, Cincinnati and New York Jets. Sammy Watkins versus Dante Moncrief. I just don't believe in Moncrief. I guess I just don't believe in any Indianapolis players at all this year. And so I'm going to give Sammy Watkins the checkbox there. Zach Ertz versus Julius Thomas. I think Julius Thomas is only good when he's paying for Peyton Manning. I think Zach Ertz has got his rookie quarterback that he's got to try and help out a lot, so he's going to get the checkbox there. Bengals, Packers. Actually, Jacksonville's offense is going to do pretty good against the Packers, so they're maybe even get negative points, so the Bengals are going to get more points than the Packers. And then kickers are kickers. End of the day, the C.J. Anderson blow up is a big part of this, but A.J. Green, John Brown, outscoring Jeremy Hill and Brandon Marshall by a pretty good margin means that, what's his name? This guy over here. Where's my switch? Newell, who doesn't have Adrian Peterson on his team anymore, therefore Where's My Switch is no longer relevant, is going to get a victory in week 1. And finally, the two noobs. Ricky joined the league last year, coming in strong, getting us a fantastic auctioneer, starting off solid and then falling away, versus Clark, who came in a jacket and a tie, wasn't sure what the heck a draft was really about, didn't even know how to do things, thought the Cowboys defense was going to be good. I mean, come on. There's no way he can win week 1. Let's take a look. Russell Hustle Man Muscle Wilson. That's delicious. I think he's going to have a huge game against Miami. I even have him in any of my daily fantasy leagues that I can possibly get him in. So Russell Wilson, going to do great. Even going to beat out the great Aaron Rodgers. Isn't he, Dwayne? Oh, poor Dwayne. Darren Sproles versus CJ. Oh, gosh. How do you start CJ Spiller? So it'll be interesting to see if Clark gets to this point in the I don't know, this isn't a podcast. What's this thing called? This point in the video. Because this should not happen. This should happen. There's a starter. There's a non-starter. There's a guy, even going against Seattle's defense, going to be better than, I believe, the third running back on his team. Not smart. Darren Sproles. This might end up switching out. I don't know, but that's kind of funny. Both crappy choices. I don't even want to pick one. How about they're both just crap? Lamar Miller versus Todd Gurley. Both going against not great teams. Maybe San Francisco's defense is a little bit better, and with that, maybe Todd Gurley doesn't do quite as well. But I'm a strong believer in Lamar Miller this year. So, jeez, wow, where am I going to go with this? Lamar Miller going to get 2 touchdowns? Is Todd Gurley going to get 2 touchdowns? I don't know. I'm a little torn. Let's give it to Lamar, just because I believe in a little bit more. Michael Crabtree versus Marvin Jones. I think Crabtree's going to be a touchdown monster with Derek Carr throwing a couple of them. He might get 2, but at least get 1 in 80 yards. That gives him the edge over Marvin Jones. Alshon Jeffrey versus DeAndre Hopkins. I think we all know Hopkins. He wins that matchup even with a crappy quarterback. Jason Witten. Oh my gosh. We're already starting 2 tight ends. Ugh. Who let Clark in this league? So we got 2 tight ends. Gary Barnage probably going to beat out Coby Fleener. Randall Cobb's definitely going to beat Jason Witten. Cardinals versus Texans. I think Texans defense wins here. Okay. I'm going to look at this. Clark. This is not good. You are not. What's really interesting here is that is not a strong team. But I'm going to give you the check box this week just because DeAndre Hopkins and Lamar Miller and Aaron Rodgers are going to do well and your Texans are going to destroy Chicago. But this team is not strong. If you're going up against a stronger opponent, like someone who maybe had a full complement of running backs and something better than Marvin Jones at his flex, why don't you have Macklin? Ricky, why aren't you playing Macklin? Aren't you a Macklin guy? My goodness, this is getting bad. I don't know what you people are doing. End of the day, Clark's going to get the checkbox, not Ricky in this one. Clark's going to come in and surprisingly win week one, which as I look at his team more and more might be his only victory all year long. Goodness gracious, especially from this management perspective. I know that Arian Foster's going up against Seattle, but CJ Spiller's the third running back. You go out there and you draft Tyler Boyd, take him away from Casey, and you don't even start him over a tight end. I don't know what to do here. I don't. Where did you spend all your money? I guess Aaron Rodgers? Goodness. Anyway, Clark gets the victory. So there you go. Quick little recap. You can see obviously down the side. Pookie's going to win the Roadhouse once again, even though Casey's coming out with an 11-0 lead. Malco versus Clinton. We're going to go with Malco over the reigning champ. Lucas versus Jeffrey. As much as it hurts me to say that Jeffrey's going to win this game, I believe he is. Dwayne versus Aaron. Dwayne pulls it out. Tyler versus Newell. Newell's already pretty much got this one wrapped up. And then Ricky versus Clark. As much as you'd think that Ricky would be better at this than Clark due to the amount of dedication that he has towards football, Clark, who doesn't know much, is going to come in and surprise us all with that victory. And that, ladies and gentlemen, oh look, I'm back on the screen. That's what's going to happen in week one. This is not my best by far. I'm thinking about college football today. I'm ready to go with the Holy War. Go Utes. I'm sorry, Cougars. You just aren't there. You're just not. I was going to say yet, but I just don't think you're ever going to be back to a point where you can comfortably come around and beat the Utes. Doesn't mean you'll never beat us. It doesn't mean that, there won't be a year where we're down and you're average and you win, or we're down and you're good and you win. It could happen, but this is not that year. But football's here. College football. Setting us up for the great fantasy football. It's that time of the year. It's that great time of life. Hopefully, you all look forward to me being once again your champion. Because it's been a little bit too long, don't you think? I think it's my time again. I'm glad to have you all in the league most of the time. The rest of the time, I would like to replace you all and not have to talk to you ever again. But those are just things that I can't control sometimes. But game one, week one, here we go. Let me know if you're doing well in DraftKings. Peace.